Welcome to the Black Girl Flow podcast. We are about cultivating joy, growth, and success in our life, love, and identity. So join us as we find our flow.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Black Girl Flow podcast. Welcome back to the gang, to the vibes, to the tribe, to the community. Oh my gosh, this is the best part of our week, just getting to sit down and connect with you all. So I hope that you guys are doing well. How's Q2 going? Like, let's keep it a bug. Let's keep it a bug. Ew. I know. All right. How is everyone's vision boards? Are the vacations booked? Are the vacations booked? More importantly, are we
what is in her cup? What is in her cup today?
Are we experiencing hot girl summer? Are we experiencing a booed up summer? Like, can both simultaneously exist?
We are two truths kind of girlies.
These are the answers I need y'all to answer for me.
Why don't you lead us off with what is the summer vibes, Missy?
That's why I'm trying to have this collective board meeting. I need us to all collectively decide.
She said we're in session. We're in session right now.
Exactly. Like, are we?
I think it's going to be a little bit of both and. I think it's going to. I don't think people are going to be outside like that.
Listen,
it's a recession, baby girl.
And that's exactly what I was going to get into. Like, my pockets. You get to a certain point in adulthood, right? Where you're just
preach on it.
Can we sustainably keep doing what we doing, right?
Can we? That's the question.
Will we?
Oof.
And if you ask me on maybe, a Tuesday or Wednesday, my answer might be different on a Friday or Saturday is what I'm trying to say. But I think that it's going to be one of those summers where I
stay inside.
I'm not staying inside now, but I'm going to be grinding a little bit.
Okay, y'all heard it here first. We got one for the grinding.
Listen, we going to have to play this back. I already freaking know. Lex is going to be like, you remember what you said that one episode? Y'all literally, these are my hopes. These are my hopes and dreams because things are just, when did meals start costing on an average upwards of $20? Listen, and I need a side as well. I need my drink on the side. When did the combo start costing upwards of $20?
When we tell y'all that this is an authentic community, you're witnessing the growth right here, right now. Because those who have been rocking with us since day one know that she has never been a penny pincher. So who knew all it took was a recession and a year of adulthood that got her over here boop, 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 boop. Math is not mathing.
The math, when the budget just... I'm all for having a good time. Don't get me wrong. I'll spend the flight money quickly. The first one in the group chat, okay? to do that, literally.
I'm definitely the last.
And it's funny because you actually have the money to spend. I think you just get to a point in life. She's like, I'm broke, y'all. Don't come asking me for no money.
I literally have nothing. Not a penny to my name.
Not a penny to my... No, listen, y'all. I've gotten to a point, and this is kind of leading me into my pulse check, where the summer fit wardrobe is really calling my name, where I've given so much of my stuff away. And I yeah,
you didn't even let me look at it.
Because I just needed it out. I told you I was giving it away, and you need to catch me right before. But I digress. That's something we gonna have to talk about later. I gave so much of my stuff away, and now I'm like, okay, well, I need a new wardrobe. And I'm like, okay, well, how does this fit into my, dreams of summer? Because I could revamp my wardrobe, or I could, go on vacation.
Go on a trip, yeah.
But I can't do both. And usually when I go on vacation, it's automatic. I'm getting
a whole set.
A whole collection of clothes. So
I can hear the conversation while she's online shopping, while we're watching a show, being like, I should get shoes, right? If I'm going to get all of these outfits, I should just get shoes, right?
And the answer is always yes.
And she's like, where'd you get those shoes that you...
Yes. I'm trying to look bad when I'm on vacation, as we all should. That's what I want for us. But I'm and this is interesting because we talk about sustainability and eco-friendly and everything. And I haven't been a fast fashion girl, but my pockets are more on the lines of fast fashion. And it's like, I'm really trying to stay strong. I'm really trying to stay strong for the eco-friendly baddies.
That's so true. But the things the staples that you have gotten are solid. Like, especially absolutely. For your winter and all those other sectors.
I be wearing it till it's tore up.
Yeah.
So,
as my mother would say, toe up till the flow up.
Whew, we do what we can, and I hope that y'all are trying to figure out what your summer vibe is as it's approaching. Like, that's why I'm trying to have this board meeting. Y'all literally DM me, like, text me, like, whatever the case is. Let me know what the vibe is.
Yeah.
And I'll match it.
I feel like I kind of know what my vibe is, but once the plans are secured, I will let y'all know. The plans are not secured yet. So
Aquarius things underneath the radar. Once everything is set and I'm actually come back from vacation, then I will let you guys know what I did and where I was and all of that. But until that's actually happened, then
no, I'm trying to stick around. But I want a nice summer.
Lexi's like, I'm going on vacation. I'm not telling nobody where I'm going. Honestly, like solo trip.
Honestly, I don't even think I have for at least the summer months. I have a lot of stuff planned in the fall time, but I'll be in Texas in May, and then once I come back, I should be just chilling for June and July, which will be really nice. I love summer in North Carolina. Like, it's my favorite. So
yeah,
it's giving, I love my summer concerts. Yeah. Like, I love all of that. So I'll definitely be around.
She got a little granola side to her if y'all haven't been able to tell.
I do. I literally did. I bought a hammock, like not an Eno, but a hammock. And I'm very excited about that.
Like, you're excited to do like the hiking and all of the Saxapahaw concerts. Yes. And I'm like, what we gonna get into?
I love a summer morning, summer evening, like right before it gets like scorching. That's like my fave.
That's so, your crux.
Yeah, and I will be outside. I have made a commitment to myself that North Carolina has so much incredible hiking that I never take advantage of besides like my 2 favorite hiking spots.
Yeah.
And so that is where I will be, is on my hiking. So
yo, I love how different our vibes are. They're complementary.
They're so complementary. And the thing is we still get down with each other's vibe, and then we have our full send for ourselves. So it's a nice little balance.
1000%.
Giving a little yin and yang.
Well, now that we've gotten into our pulse check, let's just get straight into the conversation, because there's so many themes that we love to dive into when it comes to this concept of working in harmony within our interpersonal relationships and within our romantic relationships, within our colleague work relationships. And we're all about sharing the wealth and the knowledge around just elevating our self-awareness and consciousness for how we can just be better for one another.
Well, I think one of the most common questions that we get from people is kind of the how. Like, we talk about the what all the time, the different types of mindsets, the different practices you can have. And then people are just like, how? And for most of you all who are here know that being committed to this type of lifestyle of living in flow and this type of cultivating harmony and peace in your life is not just, crossing the finish line. It really is a practice. It's something that we want to live into. It's the types of communities that we want to build. And we want to see it show up in our professional life and all of our relationships. So I think this conversation is really great because it gives us a little touch point of saying, how is this really landing in my practice and changing the way that I'm showing up in spaces? Because what we're going to be talking about today is just really the narratives and stories we tell ourselves, which seems really, really broad, but we often, I think, have been meditating recently on just how much your subconscious is on go all the time. And there's a lot of books and psychologists who talk about this, that like we really, as complex individuals as we are, we kind of only have 2 modes of thinking, which is like our explicit and our implicit. And our implicit's that like subconscious, and it's just going all day long.
Right.
And so we're making sense of the world around us. I often kind of say like our mind is a meaning making machine. And so if we're not conscious of the stories we're telling ourselves day in and day out within relationships, we might actually miss that opportunity to put into practice a lot of these intentions and lifestyles and mindsets that we know will help us achieve our ultimate goal of living a life in flow. So we kind of wanted to spend some more time diving into the complexities of how do you even unpack the narratives, these stories we tell ourselves or we're ingesting being told to us, and how that shapes our own understanding. So we're taking a bite out of a big conversation, but I think it's just kind of following in a direction that we've been getting closer and closer to. So I'm super pumped about this. So tell me a little bit about like how you understand narratives and the stories we tell ourselves or been told to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me growing up, I kind of had this idea that I was supposed to be this, extracurricular, like well-rounded, creative, like having all of the things. And I think as Black women, as Black people, we're told all the time, you have to be twice as good. You have to reach these certain heights to have value. And so that's the way that I really navigated the world. I saw my value in these very capitalistic structures of figuring out, okay, can I go to the best college? Can I be involved in the best activities? Like the value. And again, I've talked about this on the podcast. It's not until you have one of those moments where you literally crash and burn, where you then realize, okay, how am I how am I showing up in the world, and also how am I being perceived within the world? And I think for me, it really takes, those still moments to understand who you are and what your values are to be able to navigate these situations with men or with other people that might have power, and they're telling you who you are, and they're telling you that you can or can't do something. And so for me, it was all about setting the boundaries and understanding who I am so I could like not absorb what other people were telling me. Because I remember there was this one situationship with this guy. He told me I was too much. Like he was just like, you're just too much. Like you ask too many questions. And I'm someone that I like really absorb what people tell me about myself, because I want to walk throughout life with the best intentions. So in a romantic and vulnerable situation where somebody's telling you, you're too much, it can be really easy to internalize that and change yourself to better suit what society wants you to do or what that one person is telling you to do. And I took it to heart at the time. And then luckily I had like a community of people around me to kind of get me out of that negative space, to be like, girl, like the best part of you is that you ask a lot of questions, that you're interested. But it's all about the framework in which you digest what other people push onto you that then dictate how you show up in the world.
Yeah. Which just shows the power of these narratives, whether they're intended for our success or not, just how they're shaping and can shape. They don't have to, but have the potential to shape your self-perception of yourself, how you interact with spaces. And I think a lot of people have probably stories similar to that, of a remark from somebody kind of being so influential in their life but also leading to their kind of self-discovery as they, put that under a microscope and interrogate it a little bit more, and it either raining true or raining not. And I think sometimes if we're not mindful of all of the different players in life, you might be a part of somebody's narrative or counter narrative, whether or not you intended to or not.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes that idea of, oh, you're too much, well, probably your presence is a threat to somebody else's own self-perception. And I think Black women get caught up in that a lot. And we have to be mindful that the narratives that we're choosing for ourselves aren't even in a place that it's birthed in that opposition. So I think even sometimes the kind of, I'm going to be everything against a narrative that's, supposed on me, isn't even our truest self.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a hard thing to reckon with when you're caught up in that kind of mess of things.
Yeah. And I think a lot of creatives also talk about like this cyclical and metamorphic blooming of when they drop a new project, and it might not be the same type of project that they've dropped in the past. I'm specifically thinking about like Tyler, the Creator, where he has had all of these different stages of his creativity, but yet people still are holding on to narratives from the past and being well, no, like you need to still be this flower boy, or you still need to like drop things like Cherry Bomb. And when those narratives that you've then left in the past keep following you and people try to drag you back, like you literally have to set such strict boundaries. And also just know that it's okay to not return back to those things just because it felt comfortable. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you're such a content creator and you know, you're all of these things. And to me, the way that I make sense of that, my creativity is not necessarily through content creation. Like that might be a form in which I do that, but that's not like the entirety of who I feel like I am. And so in my head, the way that I try to make sense of it is taking what I want and leaving what I don't want.
That's a really great something tangible to take away from that, is that we don't have to accept those narratives as ours, because we can't necessarily stop them from existing.
Absolutely. Exactly.
And I think as meta as that idea of kind of thinking critically about like the kind of profession or energy that you're stepping into, it also shows up just in very tiny interactions. Liv knows this. Not only am I communicative, I'm probably veer on hyper communicative just because I don't think it goes wrong. Yeah. But, you know, there's been times that I've come to live in frustration or a spectrum of emotions, saying like, hey, from interactions that we've been having, this is now the story I'm telling myself about how I feel like the situation is perceived, or your actions towards me, like help me make sense of this. And so I also think that not only interrogating the narratives that we're maybe getting on a societal level is really important in how we're interacting with it in our own evolution, but also unpacking the narratives that we have in our interpersonal relationships. Because if there's narratives that we form without that clarity, then what happens is we truly full send into that.
Absolutely.
And our mind will just go so quickly that without my intent always, I could have, oh my gosh, Liv's so upset with me, and you know, she doesn't want to talk to me because this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden I'm having a whole nother experience, and that actually creates division amongst us. Right. And so I think interrogating these narratives and asking for that clarity around what was intended from this narrative, who benefits from this narrative, was it, you know, what part of it do I agree with, do I not agree with, is also part of our liberation in saying, okay, I'm stepping beyond these constraints that might be imposed on me and seeking a higher level of understanding and curiosity. And it's in those moments you actually create opportunity for bonding and for like visioning. Forgiveness as well. Just the spectrum of things that really are core to building relationships and kind of creating strong foundations. Because 9 times out of 10, you bring that to the person and they're like, oh, I didn't really mean for that. Or my reaction was actually a reaction based off a story I was telling myself. Right, and exactly. So I think we can really all spend some moments and ask ourselves, like, what are some stories we're either telling about ourselves or about other people or situations that we might be beholden to in ways that we didn't even realize it.
For sure. And I think to that piece of having to come to the person that you may be experiencing a different like thought about it. I was reflecting on just the fact that my parents didn't argue in front of me growing up. I think that's 1000% led to my non-confrontation, because I didn't see them like in a healthy way have conflict. But it's like if I just take that and I'm like, I'm non-confrontational, and then I like take that throughout the rest of my life, like, can you imagine how miserable not only I would be and everyone around me, just being like, well, I guess I'm just non-confrontational, I guess I'm just a Capricorn, I guess I'm just a, you know, like it's so easy. It's so easy to just blame it and like be like, I'm not gonna change, because that's just the narrative I was told, and That's been my experience. But I hope that we create a community where like we go deeper and we like literally take a hammer to glass and we're like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
And when you say that about like the type of community that we're building here, I do want it to be clear as an example. The narrative that we want to be committed to building with the Black Girl Flow community is one that does push against those stereotypes and expectations for Black women to fit in one degree or another degree on the opposite end of what society deems, and that when we take control of our narrative and we actually hold space for ourselves that's centered in peace and living in flow and being in community, that we actually create a new narrative. And that is technically an act of resistance against all of these systems. So I want to be clear that we're putting that into practice in that interpersonal workings and also on that systemic level. And I just want to invite more people to be along with us in that commitment to, one, not only investigating the narratives we hold in and of ourselves and the relationships, but also being committed to buying into a new narrative that actually can be a part of our liberation in a really deep and beautiful way.
And such a brave thing to do.
It is. Oh my gosh, it makes me want to hold your hand.
It's so brave because it's again, when we have all of these institutions working together to create this narrative that, like you're not enough, or that you need to be doing this to have value. And
or you need to be a Beyonce.
Or we also have Black men also in the fold. That's the story for a different day. Puts literal pen. It's like, wow, Black women, we got to stick together and we got to do what we can to support one another and create space for all of the layers that we hold and going against the grain. So point blank, period.
Yes. Meditate on that. Really ask yourself, we want to hear what some of those stories, whether they've been of service to you or disservice to you. And I have a feeling that we're going to keep coming back to this year of this idea of these narratives and stories, because I think there's a lot of messages we're getting constantly. And I want to have a community that we can keep coming back to and saying, who's benefiting from this? How can we change it? And being committed to just really evaluating that.
Being 100% our most authentic self.
Yes.
Doesn't that sound good?
It really does.
It just feels like,
because we really about it. We really about it.
I love that for us, guys.
Big ups, y'all. Big ups.
Alrighty. Well, with that being said, we leave you all with peace, with love, and with blessings.
Bye,
we'll see you guys next time.